Das. Thank you for the coffee. Tzarich ladas. A person should know that even if someone wants to go ahead and follow in the pathways of Emunah, as we discussed, Yish shtei minios ikarios sha'alulos limnoa osomilamo b'nisyonos sha'ovrim alav b'atzlacha. Both say there are often two obstacles that prevent a person from ultimately actualizing their emunah, or I should say, progressing on the pathway of their emunah. So remember again, let's take a step back. So the context in which we're seeing things unfold over here is the following: that everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is purposeful. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is meaningful. And our challenges are there because our challenges allow us to self-actualize. Our challenges are messages from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which indicate to us either a weakness, a deficiency, an area which requires growth. But a person has to be willing to stop, introspect, and examine that message in order to be able to understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is actively teaching me. The Mechaber now says there are certain things which prevent that from occurring, certain things which prevent a person from learning the lessons of their Yisud. What are those things? So he says, number one, when a person says, Ini yachol la'amod b'zeh, the person says, you know what, I can't handle this. I can't handle this situation. Shepershu ha'adam eino ma'amin ba'atzmo shehu yachol la'avar es hanisayon b'hatzlacha. A person doesn't believe in his own personal ability to overcome this challenge successfully. So we'll say, this is actually amazing. So challenge number one, says the Mechaber, to actualizing emunah in difficult times is when a person says, I can't do it. I can't do it. When a person lacks emunah, not in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but ultimately again in themselves. So we'll say, how does this play out? A person is beset by a particular challenge, a particular nisayon. And sometimes that nisayon, that challenge, that circumstance looks overwhelming. A person could never say, I can't do this. A person can never say, I'm unable to handle this. A person can never say, this is impossible for me. Because they will say, the moment I say that is the moment that I'm doubting I'm lacking emunah in me. If I say that I can't, by the way, when a person says, I can't do it, when a person says they can't, right? So really they're saying, I don't want to do it. But ultimately it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you tell yourself you can't do, one thing is clear, which is you won't do it. So if a person, so we'll say, so what the Mechaber is saying over here is if I'm in the middle of challenges and I'm having difficulties, I can't say I can't handle this. I mean, everybody says things like that in moments of desperation, but then you regroup afterwards and you try to figure out how to pull yourself together. But to lack emunah in one's self, almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of an inability to properly handle a circumstance. To overcome this obstacle, suppose a person has to know with absolute certainty. I will say this next line, it's overused, so it's going to sound a little bit trite, but you're going to see an incredible profundity in it. Bolded line, page Kuf Chaf Aleph, second paragraph from the bottom. Shashem Yisbarach eino nosi la'adam nisayon she'eino yachol la'amod bo. The Ribono Shel Olam does not give me a challenge that I cannot overcome, that I cannot withstand. It's important. What does this mean? What does this mean? So this is important because this means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me a particular challenge or a particular difficulty. Hadavar mechuvan b'hashgacha pratis miduyakes lefi hakochos or lefi hayecholes shel ha'adam hazeh. I will say the challenges that I have are custom tailored to me. The adversity that I encounter is custom tailored to me. It's custom tailored to my kochos, custom tailored to my abilities, and custom tailored ultimately to help me self-actualize. If I do not have the ability to withstand and to overcome this particular test, HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo haya menasa oso bo. See, I will say, if you understand that which we do, that the whole point of a challenge, the whole point of an isayon is to help me grow, is to figure out what message is the Ribono Shel Olam giving me, what message is the Moshe dispatching to me, what is it that I have to work on, what is it that needs to be fixed, what is it that needs to be tweaked. So by definition, every nisayon I'm given is custom tailored to me. There's no such thing as a haphazard or random nisayon. Everything is purposeful. So to say, I can't do it, might be a statement of desperation, might be a statement of feeling a bit overwhelmed, but lamaisa, it's unequivocally false. If you have it, you can handle it. If it's your circumstance, you can deal with it. If it's your challenge, you have the ability to overcome it. So we'll say that's the first obstacle. So remember, if a person, when faced with challenge, if my approach to the challenge is, can't handle it. So we'll say, so then if you say you can't handle it, you won't handle it. And if you won't handle it, so remember again what happens when you don't handle your problems. So pretty much again, they remain your problems. They don't get solved, there's no approach, you don't overcome it, and they just simply kind of sit there very often for the rest of your life. How many listen to this. The second obstacle to not maximizing our challenges. And I know again that sounds like a strange statement in and of itself. But the second obstacle to not maximizing our challenges. In other words, we'll say when I have a challenge, my goal is to maximize it. My goal is to leverage it and to use it for my own growth. The second obstacle to this is when a person says, I have no desire to deal with this. Oh, Tainli lichios b'sheket. Or I just wish that I could live in peace. Sheferusho ha'adam eino rodse b'koshi u'ba'avoda ha'kruchim ba'amido v'nisayon. So the second challenge is when a person says, you know what? I don't really want any challenges. I don't really want any difficulties. Hurak rodse sheyazvu oso b'sheket. Lichios b'shalva u'benachas b'li tikunim b'li tshuva b'li alios u'b'li yeridos. So we'll say, so it's a very important yesod. The Mechaber says that sometimes the greatest disservice we do to ourselves in life is we think that life is supposed to be relaxing. That we think somehow life, like the goal is, how do I make my life easy? How do I make it quiet? How do I make it tranquil? How do I make it as easy as possible? And I will say that is a false understanding of life. Whoever said that life is supposed to be easy, whoever said that life is supposed to be tranquil, whoever said that there's not supposed to be challenges, challenges are part of the fabric of life. Challenges are the engine of growth. So when a person goes ahead and a person has a mindset that my goal is to relax, my goal is to have a chaye sheket, a life of quiet, then I will say what ends up happening. I mean, I don't want challenges. That's my goal. My goal is to not have challenges. I will say when that happens, I will say this is an exceptionally profound statement. The Mechaber says that when a person goes ahead and says, I just want a quiet life, a life without challenges, a life without difficulty, the Mechaber posits what they're really saying is, I just want a life without purpose. Which is such a strong statement. It's not a life without purpose, because the purpose in our life, right, and the meaning of our lives only comes about really because of the challenges, and specifically how we navigate and deal with the challenges. So when a person says, I just want to relax, I just want to take it easy, I just want life to be quiet and tranquil, I don't want the challenges, what they're really saying is, I'm not interested in finding the deeper meaning of existence. Because I will say the deeper meaning of life and the deeper meaning of who we are and what we are only comes about in one way, and that's our challenges. The truth is, it really doesn't come about through the brachas. It comes about ultimately, again, through how we weather the challenges in life. He goes on, turn the page. See, here's the other piece. In the midst of challenge often gives us the opportunity to ask ourselves a simple question. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from me? What does God want from me? You're visiting these challenges upon me. What do you want from me? Also, when we ask that question, so remember, it's that question that allows us to grow. It's that question that gets me to think. It's that question that gets me to try to understand, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from me? What should my life be? And then I will say, all a person wants in this type of circumstance is one thing. I just don't want adversity. I'm just so uninterested in dealing with challenges. So we'll stop over here for today. Actually, let's just finish this next paragraph. He says, so we'll say in order to overcome this particular challenge, a person has to know with absolute certainty, Sheratzon Hashem sheya'avor es mashuhu over. Uratzon Hashem sheya'amod b'nisayon hazeh b'chol pratav. V'sheyida shaynisayon hazeh muchuvan milamalo kafi ma shashem yodea mahu hatikun umahu hashlichos shelo ba'olam hazeh. V'sheyida sherakim ya'amod b'nisayon zeh. I'm just going to read two more lines, then we'll stop. Yuchal hagia ala sheket hanafshi ela shava ha'amitis. Suppose say, how do I overcome this second challenge? By recognizing that, no, if these are my circumstances, it's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to have these circumstances. And because it's only through these circumstances that ultimately, again, I will be able to figure out what is my shlichus, what is my purpose, what is my tachlis in this world. So we'll pick up with this paragraph again tomorrow, but we'll close this out in the following way for today. That essentially the Mechaber tells us that there are two challenges. Let's take this in context. The goal is to grow from adversity. How do I grow from adversity? Number one, I try to figure out ultimately what message is HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to teach me. First, I look for midah keneged midah. Is there some type of reciprocity in the adversity that I am facing? Is there some type of embedded message about what I have to improve, what I have to work on, what I have to change? The goal then is to use that adversity as the springboard for growth. The challenges or the obstacles to using adversity to growth, the Mechaber posits are two. Number one, when a person says, I can't do it, we'll say, the Jew has to remove those words from his lexicon. There's no such thing as I can't do it. There may be words like, it's very difficult to do this, or I'm not exactly sure the right strategy to be able to overcome this problem. But if these are my circumstances, saying I can't do it, I can't handle it, I can't overcome it, simply is not an option. Those words are self-defeating words. And those words ultimately are the obstacle, are the true hurdle to self-actualization through challenge. And I both said hurdle number two is, according to the Mechaber, when a person ultimately thinks that life is supposed to be relaxing. If you think that the goal is to relax, if you think that the goal is to get to the next vacation, if you think that the goal is to take it easy, notice I'm missing the point of life. It's Adam la'amal yulad. The point of life is struggle. The point of life is to wage the battle. The point of life is constantly to trudge uphill. That is the entire essence of existence in its totality. And if you wage against that, if you battle against that, and you think that life is supposed to be tranquil and nice and quiet and relaxing, and you're supposed to be rested, then at the end of the day, I will say life is very frustrating, because very often you're not rested, very often you can't go ahead and find the tranquility you're so badly seeking. But if you accept the fact that life is about the struggle, and that emotion gives me the struggles I need to self-actualize, that I'm able to embrace them, and I'm able to grow from them. We'll pick up in Meretz Hashem on the middle of, I should say, in that second paragraph in Kuf Kaf Beis in Meretz Hashem tomorrow. All right, we'll say good morning. We have mamish a beautiful, beautiful daf ahead of us today. So our shir is dedicated by the Grossman family in memory of Ira's mother. Also, just a reminder, Ira's still sitting shiva. If you want to help make one of the minyanim, pay a shiva visit. Much appreciated. So we dedicate the learning of Ilui Nishmas Ira's mother, Freda Rabbi Shmuel, as well as the Ilui Nishmas Eli Ezra ben Kolonos. Hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah and Shamos will have an aliyah, and the family's in the Chama. As well as today's daf is Yud Aleph 11. We are picking up last line Yud Amud Beis 10 beats. So we'll say you can only go ahead and be ma'aber the shana. You can only go ahead and declare a leap year, meaning add in a new month. Rashi says the word thing is only with judges who were already appointed and designated from the previous evening. So it says, meaning if you look at Rashi, it says fine. So one time Rabbi Gamliel, who was the Nasi, he went ahead and he appointed 7 judges, meaning he was mazmin them. He told them the night before already that I need you to come the next day and be ma'aber shana, to go ahead and add in a leap month. And what happens? He invited them to the aliyah. So listen, to the attic. This is where the Beis Din met. Hishkim umatzah shmona. So what happens? He comes to the attic the next morning, and what does he find? There are 8 rabbanim there. Somebody's not supposed to be there. Amar mihu sha'ala shelo b'shus yereit. So he said, whoever came here without permission should go. Amad Shmuel HaKatan. So we'll say Shmuel HaKatan went ahead and stood up. Now he's called Shmuel HaKatan. I will say, as we'll see, as a display of his incredible humility. So Shmuel HaKatan said, Amar va'anihu sha'alisi shelo b'shus. Rebbe, it was me. It was me. I am the uninvited dayan. V'lo la'aber hashan alisi. But it's okay. Don't get worried. I'm not here in the declaration of the leap year. Ella lilmod halacha l'maisi u'tzrachti. But rather, again, I'm here in order to learn halacha l'maisi. I wanted to see. I'm just here for the shimush. I want to see how you're doing it. Amar lo. So we'll say, now the point over here is Shmuel HaKatan. It was untrue. He was one of the invited judges. So why did he go ahead and stand up and say, I'm the uninvited one? Because Rabbi say ultimately he didn't want to embarrass the person who was the uninvited dayan. Amar lo shave b'nei shave. So Rabbi Gamliel says, please, my son, sit, you could stay. The truth is, all of the leap years, you are so great that all of the leap years can be declared just through you. But Rabbi Gamliel said, listen, I'm happy to have you here, but you understand, of course, that it's not a problem in you, it's a problem in the fact that Lamaisa, the Dayanim have to be mizumanim. They have to be invited, so to speak. They have to be designated already from the night before. Then the Gemara says over here, "V'lo Shmuel HaKatan hala." Now the truth is, remember, the Gemara just says it minutes before, Shmuel HaKatan really wasn't the uninvited judge. He was invited. So why did he go ahead and declare himself as the uninvited judge? Ella imish achrina umachmas kisufa hu da'avid. Rather, at the end of the day, it was someone else who came uninvited, but Shmuel made himself look like the uninvited judge in order to save the other individual from embarrassment. Rashi HaKadosh writes here, machmas kisufa hu da'avid. So in order to go ahead and save the other individual from being embarrassed, Shmuel HaKatan takes the achrayus on himself. Kihad Yosef Rebbe. Listen to this nice. I told you, I promised you that this is magnificent Gemara. Kihad Yosef. And also, what's amazing about this is, and I always marvel about this. Now, Dafilmi, as you may have heard, is a 7.5 year program. Although Baruch Hashem, we're 2 years away from our Siyam Hashas blessing, which is quite amazing. What's always amazing is the timing, the confluence of the Gemaras with the events. Here you have, we're going to learn incredible bit Adam L'Chavero Gemaras, Mamish in the midst of Ben HaMatzar, in the midst of the 9 days, where the avoda of the 9 days is to ultimately work on our Ben Adam L'Chavero. It's incredible. Ki Yad Yasser Rebbe, V'kadara She'riach Reach Shum. So Rebbe's giving shir. So listen to this, Meister. Rebbe's giving shir, and what happens? He smells garlic. Someone ate garlic. So Amar Misha achal garlic. Misha achal shum yetze. What a chutzpah! You don't come to shir right after you eat garlic, right? I'll say this is like there's a dinner like covered up brios over here. You know, meaning you can't come in all fashmekt of the garlic over here. Everybody has to sit around you and hear that. So smell that. So again, he says, "Who ate garlic? You never get our garlic. Can you please leave?" Amad Rabbi Chia v'yatza. So we'll say Rabbi Chia stood up and he left. Amdu kulan v'yatza. So we'll say after Rabbi Chia left, the other talmidim left as well. B'shachar, Matzah Rabbi Shimon ber Rabbi Chia. So we'll say the next morning, Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rabbi, found Rabbi Chia, and he said to him, "Amarle, atu shetziarta la'aba." So we'll say Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rabbi, said to Rabbi Chia, Why did you give so much sacrifice? Why did you eat garlic before coming to shir? Obviously, Rebbe had a sensitivity to this. So why did you eat garlic before coming to shir? So Rabbi Chia says, Amrlo, lo take izos b'Yisrael. So Rabbi Chia said, Chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. I would not eat garlic before coming to Shir, knowing that Lamaisa, again, we'll say really it was a sign of disrespect, meaning the idea is that the Talmud also has to make himself presentable to the Rebbe. So Lamaisa can't eat garlic before. So Rabbi Chia says, Chas v'shalom. It wasn't me. Essentially, Rabbi Chia was saying, it wasn't me. I took the fall for it, but it was not me. So we'll say, here's the interesting part. What's the precedent for this? Where did Rabbi Chia ultimately learn this idea that you should take, or you could take responsibility for something, even if you did not do it? Now, I'll tell you something absolutely amazing. Sir Chaim Shmulevitz in Sichos Musar comments on this. He said this idea, mehecha gamerla. So we'll say, you see, understand the profundity of that line for just a moment. The Gemara so far giving me two examples of Shmuel Akat and Rabbi Chia, essentially both who took blame for something in order to save someone else from being embarrassed. So the Gemara says, from where do we know that that is an appropriate behavior? So says Yechim Shav is something amazing. He says, Masha Gemara sho'elas mehecha gamerla, roin, sha'aser lo la'adam lehisnahig lefi savaraso. Allah said, what do you learn from this? You learn from this that everything you do in life has to be based in Torah. You know, it's like, you know what the greatest challenge in life is? And I always get a lot of humor out of this. When people develop their own shitos, right? I have a shita. This is my hashkafa. This is my shita. Really? That's your shita? Where'd you pull that one out of? Right? I'm saying, where did you get that shita from? So the answer, if we're honest with ourselves, is here's what normally happens is, I decide what I want to do in life. I decide what I want to do. And then I go ahead, okay, now that I know what I want to do, let me build my shita and my hashkafa around what I want to do. It becomes, which Rav Hirsch, you know what Rav Hirsch calls that? Rav Hirsch calls that avodah zarah. Rav Hirsch says that, belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is I make myself in God's image. Avodah zarah is I make God in my image. I decide what I want to do, and then I create a framework around that. Such an incredible yisod. So says Chaim Shmulevitz. The Gemara asks, "Mehechi gomerla." Okay, it sounds like it's a nice thing to do, but if you can't find a makar in Torah, if you can't find a makar in proper hashkafa, just because you have a shita, just because I have a svara, just because I have an idea, doesn't make it a justifiable behavior. Mehecha gomerla. And I both say it's an incredible yisod, because if we live life like this, before doing something, saying something, or assuming that something is correct, to ask myself that simple question, Mehecha Gamerla, where is this from? How do I know that this is true? So the Gemara says, this Gamerla Rabbi Meir. From Rabbi Meir. Bossy, listen to this, Maisa. Well, Rabbi Meir, Desanya. Maisa v'isha achas shabasa lebeis midrash shel Rabbi Meir. One time, we'll say, you can't make this stuff up. So one time, a woman came into the beis midrash shel Rabbi Meir. She said, Amrla Rebbe, echad mikem kidshani bebiyah. So what did she say? What's like, can you imagine this thing? She comes to the beis medrash. She said, listen, one of you guys betrothed me with Bia, right? But again, whatever, I don't know what the Metzias was, but whatever it is, she wasn't sure who, she's not sure who, but can you imagine, she shows up at the beis medrash and says, someone was Mekadesh me with Bia. Now, both saying that this is problematic on multiple levels, right? It's problematic in one, because obviously the woman doesn't remember who it is, but the nice, we learned in Kiddushin, as much as Bia is one of the ways in which a man can be Mekadesh and Isha, but Chazal very much frowned upon it as a mechanism for Kiddushin. So obviously what happened over here, something shtickle illicit, or potentially illicit. This woman shows up in the beis medrash. One of the Talmidim in this beis medrash was Mekadesh me with Bia. Now we'll say, now what happens? Now she's here in the beis medrash. Why? Because ultimately, again, either she's saying either let's be married or give me a get. But right now I'm in a little bit of a state of limbo because I don't know who my husband is, and I can't exactly move forward with my life. So we'll say, so what happens? So here's the issue. What's going to happen? So can you imagine? Nobody's going to get up and say, okay, it was me. It was. So we'll say, so what happens? Amad Rabbi Meir, the kasav laget krisos v'nasala. So we'll say, Rabbi Meir got up and wrote her a get. Amdu kulam. Excuse me. Amdu v'kasvu kulam v'nasala. We'll say, after seeing what Rabbi Meir did, all of the Talmidim wrote her a get as well. Now we'll say, now obviously only one of those gittin was a valid get, but by ultimately, again, obscuring the identity of the perpetrator or of the person who actually was Mekadesh or with Bia, he was able to save face, the individual was able to save face, and the woman was able to get her get. Rabbi Meir, so we'll say it says, where did Rabbi Meir get that from? Right? In other words, so Rabbi Meir also demonstrates this behavior of doing something in order to save someone else from embarrassment. Rabbi Meir, where do you get that from? So the Gemara said, listen to this. Gamar la Shmuel HaKatan. He learned from Shmuel HaKatan. I will say that was the first case. Shmuel HaKatan mehechal Gamar la. Where did Shmuel HaKatan get this from? Mishachanya ben Yechiel. He got it from Shechanya ben Yechiel. Chsiv. Vayan Shechanya ben Yechiel b'nei Elam. Vayomer la Ezra. Anachnu ma'alnu be'elokenu. V'noshav noshim nachrios mi'amei ha'aretz. V'yata yesh mikveh Yisrael al zos. So I will say, so Shechanya ben Yechiel says to Ezra, we have sinned in that we have intermarried. Now, remember again, big problem when Ezra leads up the group back to Eretz Yisrael. There's a mass. The majority of the people remains in Babel, and one of the big reasons for that is because they had intermarried. So Shechanya ben Yechiel is asking Ezra, "Is there any takana for us now that we have intermarried?" Now he says, "We have intermarried." Shechanya ben Yechiel did not intermarry. He was a pious individual, but Lamais, again, you see that he was taking responsibility for the collective guilt. Shechanya ben Yechiel mehechal Gamarla. So what's the second white line? Yudalef from Dalef. Where did Shechanya ben Yechiel get this from? Gamarla mi Yoshua. He learns it from Yoshua. Vayomer Hashem al Yoshua, Kum lacha, lama ata nofa al panecha, chata Yisrael. So Chosh Baruch Hu says to Yoshua, get up, right? Why are you falling on your face? Chata Yisrael, because Klal Yisrael has sinned. Amar lefan of Ribono she'olam michata. So Yoshua says, now we'll say this is talking about again. This is talking about by Yericho, by Achan, excuse me, thank you, by the Chet of Achan, right? So we'll say, so the halacha was ultimately Achan took the spoils, right? And that's why, again, there were fatalities in the war that Yoshua was waging. So Yoshua asked the Chodesh Baruch Hu, so who committed the sin? So the Gemara says, Amar v'chi diltor ani, excuse me, v'chi dilitor ani, lech hatel goravos. So we'll say, Chodesh Baruch Hu says, I'm not going to tell you ultimately, again, who it was that perpetrated this misdeed, as the Yibon Shalom is unwilling to out the perpetrator. And therefore, again, he says, go cast lots, and you'll figure out ultimately who the sinner was. The other possibility is, where do we see the makar for this behavior of kind of cloaking the individual transgression within the collective? So we'll say, remember again, so Moshe Rabbeinu says, for how long? If you look at Rashi, he says, me'antem, kulan bichlal, vari kulan lo yotzel lilkot, ela mikta. So we'll say, this is talking about, again, when Dasan and Aviram go out, Kosh Baruch Hu says there's not going to be any man on Shabbos. Dasan and Aviram go out to go ahead and put out man on Shabbos. Moshe Rabbeinu gets upset. He speaks to the cloud. How long will you continue to rebel against HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But it's not the cloud, it's only Dasan and Aviram. But you see here also that sometimes you obscure the identity of the individual perpetrator by embedding them within the collective in order to go ahead and prevent any embarrassment to the individual. So I'll say really an incredible yisod. If you think about it, meaning if we have to be so careful with the covet and with the dignity of the perpetrator, almost, and again, these aren't all cases of sins. Sometimes they're just examples of different types of egregious behavior, of just inappropriate behavior. But you see an incredible sensitivity, never to hurt or never to offend the other. Alachas kama v'kama. In stam cases, how careful we have to be with the feelings of the other. Tan Rabbanon, Mishamesu Nevi'im Achronim, Chagai Zechariah Malachim Yistal Ruach HaKodesh MiYisrael. So also to the Brisa writes, when the last Nevi'im died, Chagai Zechariah and Malachi, so Ruach HaKodesh was removed from Klal Yisrael. Va'afal pi came Hayu Mishtamshin Babaskol. But I will say, even though there was no more Ruach HaKodesh, at the end of the day, there was still a baskol, or there was still oftentimes a heavenly voice that would come down and communicate with the people. So Gemara tells an amazing story. Pamachas hayu misumim ba'aliyas beis Guria b'Yericho. One time, so the rabbis were sitting in an upper story in Beis Guria in Yericho. V'nosna aleim baskol min hashamayim. So the baskol came out. The Tzedabos said the following: Yesh kan echad sheroy shetisha alav shchina ki Moshe Rabbeinu. Elo she'im doro zakai lekach. There is a man here. Baskol said, "There's a man here amongst you who is as great as Moshe Rabbeinu and could have nevuah like Moshe Rabbeinu, but the generation is not worthy. Nasnu chachamim eseineim behillel hazake. We'll say ultimately again, who was sitting there at that time? None other than Hillel HaZaken. So Hillel the elder. And all the other Rabbanim understood that Baskol was talking about Hillel. Ukishemes Amra Alav, when Hillel died, Rabbi say, how did they eulogize him? They said, hey Chassid, hey Anav, look at this man who was such a Chassid, this man who was so humble, Talmido Shal Ezra. He was a Talmud of Ezra. Now, what does it mean he was a Talmud of Ezra? That the same way that Ezra ultimately, again, tried to teach Torah to the masses, Hillel also brought Torah to the masses. Shuv Pam Achos, Hayu Misubin Ba'aliyah B'Yavna. One time the rabbis were sitting in the upper story in Yavna, V'nosnu aleim kobas kol min hashamayim, and a baskel came up from the heavens and said the following, Yishkon Echad Shreish Tishrav Shechina, Ela She'im Doro Zakai Lekach. There's someone here who has the ability, I will say, to have Ruach HaKodesh, but his generation is not worthy. Nasnu Chachamim Eseneim B'Shmuel HaKatan. And I will say again, who did the rabbis set their eyes on? They set their eyes on Shmuel HaKatan. On Kishemes Amra Alav, when Shmuel HaKatan died, I will say, how did they eulogize him? Hey Chassid, hey Anav, Talmido Shel Hillel. What a Chassid, what an Anav. He is the student of Hillel. Afu Am B'Shas Misaso. I will say Shmuel HaKatan, when he died, also gave the following messages. I will say, now these messages proved that he had Ruach HaKodesh, because they all were prophetic in nature. And what did he say? He said, Shimon the Yishmael l'charva. Shimon and Yishmael, so we'll say Shimon is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Yishmael is Rabbi Yishmael Kohen Gadol. L'charva will be destroyed. Rabbi says this is a reference that these two individuals, remember, were part of the Asar Harugei Malchus. They were two of the 10 martyrs. So Shmuel HaKatan prophesied, and he said, these two are going to meet a terrible end. V'chavroi l'ktala, and their other friends, their chaverim, ultimately again, I will say, who are their friends? Their friends are Rabbi Akiva, their friends are Rabbi Hanania ben Trajan. Their friends ultimately will also face horrific deaths as well. Ushar ama lebiza va'akan sigian asidin lemese al ama. And the rest of the nation, unfortunately, will be plundered, and great tragedies will come upon the world. So I will say, Shmuel HaKatan prophesizes ultimately again about not only the Churban Beis Hamikdash, but the incredible persecution that was going to occur afterwards as well. Va'al Yehuda ben Bava bikshu lo markin. I will say now about a Yehuda ben Bava. They also wanted to give the same eulogy. They also wanted to eulogize him. Hey Anav, hey Chassid, Talmido Shelsh. I don't know who they would have called him the Talmud of, but Ella Shenitra Fasha. This is an incredible historical footnote. But Nitra Fasha means there wasn't time. Why wasn't there time? Because Yehuda ben Bava was executed by the government. Now we know the story of Yehuda. We actually learned this in our Pirkei Avos. Who was Yehuda ben Bava? Remember again, just to understand the historical link over here. So Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 Talmidim die. Right? He goes ahead and he appoints 5 new Talmidim. For some reason, Rabbi Akiva never gave those 5 new Talmidim smicha. He never gave them smicha. Right? He never, like we saw in Sanhedrin, the from the unbroken chain. So we'll say, here was the problem. The Romans had outlawed smicha. And the Romans said, whoever gives smicha is going to be put to death. Not only that, any city in which smicha is conferred, the city will be annihilated. Not only that, but even if you give smicha outside of the city, any city closest to the space in which smicha is given will be annihilated as well. Obviously, this stopped smicha. Yehuda ben Bava. Yehuda ben Bava is such an incredible story. Yehuda ben Bava gathers the 5 Talmidim. And the Gemara says he chose like a desolate area that wasn't in close proximity to any city. He gave them smicha there in the middle of nowhere. The Romans found out. The Roman army is coming to capture them. Yehuda ben Bava tells the 5 Talmidim, I am an old man. I've lived my life. You 5 go, I'll fight off the Romans. He said, Rebbe, we can't leave you. He said, you have to leave. You have to build up Torah. You have to carry on. The 5 go. Yehuda ben Bava is killed by the Romans. The Gemara says that they pierced his body with so many spears that his body became like a sieve. Because that's how Yehuda ben Bava died. Yehuda ben Bava died on Kiddush Hashem after granting smicha to the 5 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva. It's amazing. It's a footnote. It's like a footnote in our history. But these are our footnotes, right? Our footnotes are Kula Kadosh. It's just... So anyway, they couldn't eulogize Yehuda ben Bava. Why? Because there was always a concern that when someone was killed by the government, that the government might change their mind about allowing burial to occur. So whenever somebody was one of the Harugi Malchus, they quickly buried them in order the king should not. So they wanted to eulogize Yudim and Bava also, but they didn't ultimately, again, in order to just bury him quickly. Tan Rabbanan. Was an incredible Gemara. Tan Rabbanan. We're going to speak now a little bit more about the technicalities of declaring a leap year. The only time we go ahead and we're ma'aber the shana is if the nasi. Remember again, just like there's a Reish Galusa in Bavel, there's a nasi. This is post monarchy. So there's no more king. You have a head of Babylonian Jewry, Reish Galusa, and you have a nasi in Eretz Yisrael. So you can't go ahead and declare you can't declare a leap year unless, of course, the nasi wants it. One time Rabbi Gamliel was out of town. He went to go ahead and speak. He had to get permission for some communal matter in the ruler in Syria. V'shahu lava. And what happened? They had to declare it a leap year, and he wasn't there. And they declared a leap year, but on the condition that what? That Rabbi Gamliel would agree. So it would have to be a retroactive declaration. So Kishmar Gamliel v'amar otzani nin says Shalom Uber. So Rabbi Gamliel came back. He said, "Okay, I agree." And I will say retroactively, they determined that indeed it was a leap year. Tan Rabbanan. In my avernes hashala ela imkin haisa tzricha mebnei hadrachim umebnei hagisharim umebnei tarnei pesachas. So let's listen to this. Now the Gemara says the following: why do we declare a leap year? Why do we declare? So the Gemara says we only declare a leap year for the following reasons. Number one, mebnei hadrachim. I will say if the rainy season continued and the roads are still muddy and the people from Chutz La'aretz will not be able to get to Eretz Yisrael in time for Pesach. So we go ahead and we declare a leap, give another month for the roads to dry out. We'll say same thing with the bridges. Let's say as a result of the rainy season, the bridges are in a state of disrepair. They're not going to be repaired in time. You declare a leap year. It's very interesting. So remember, Karban Pesach could be roasted in an oven. So they used to roast it in clay ovens. We'll say if you have an excessive rainy season, what happens to clay ovens? So ultimately they become waterlogged. In other words, if they don't dry out, you can't roast anything in there. So in order to go ahead and so we'll say, you see the common theme. The common theme is any major factor that prevents people from getting to Yerushalayim for Pesach might ultimately go ahead and be a reason to declare a leap year. Or if we see that people already set out for the journey to come to Eretz Yisrael, but just because of different conditions, they're not going to be able to make it in time. Aval lo mepnei hashalek, but I will say we will not declare a leap year because of snow, or it's even if it's snowing, because Rashi points out snow doesn't prevent people from getting where they need to get to. Not because of cold, even if it's excessively cold, we don't declare a leap year. And I will say, if people have not yet even left their homes or begun to try to travel, we don't declare a leap year for them as well. So let's listen to this. We will not declare a leap year because of the goats, nor because of the sheep, or nor because of the doves that have not yet begun to fly. Now, what is this talking about? Take a look at Rashi for just a moment. So Rashi says, let's listen to this. The halacha is you can bring the Karban Pesach either from a goat or from a sheep. Now, if you want to be economical about it, the goal would be is you want to bring the biggest animal possible. Why? Because the mice, again, the bigger the Karban Pesach, the more people it feeds, or the more meat it gives to every person. If you could shech just one animal and have that for your Pesach, for your Seder night, that's obviously an economically sound decision. I will say, so let's say again, just the way the years work out. So the goat and the sheep are still small, and another month of fattening them up would go a long way. We don't declare a leap year. We don't put in an extra month in order to give people extra time to fatten up the goats and the sheep. Either if it just means you're going to have to bring a second animal, you'll bring a second animal. Same thing with gozlos, the doves. Rashi says gozlos shetzrichan likine yelado shebachol Eretz Yisrael v'chin zavin v'zavo shekulan mashin kineim adalos l'regel. Afal pikein in ma'avrin kach kol al kach sheicholun lahavi b'nei yonah shekshem kshem k'tanim. Let's listen to this. So the idea over here is often if a woman would give birth, there's a halacha. She gives birth, she has to bring karbanos. A woman wouldn't necessarily immediately go to Yerushalayim to bring her karbanos. Rather, what would she do? She would wait till the next regel when she was going up anyway and bring it then. So we'll say if it turns out that the doves are small, so again, we don't declare a leap year in order to allow the doves to get larger. Rather, we tell them ultimately again that she could bring b'nei yona, she could bring turtle doves, his doves and his turtle doves. She could bring those even if they're smaller. So the Gemara says the following about osan osa sa'ad l'shana. Even though we won't declare a leap year based on these reasons, we'll use these reasons in conjunction with other reasons to declare a leap year. Keitzad Rabbi Yanai Omer Mishum Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. So listen to this. We'll say, what did this declaration look like? Mahodian anachna lechon. So we go ahead. We are hereby declaring before you. This will say like the verbiage of a beis din. So we would go ahead and we declare before you the gozal yerkichin, the doves. Right, the doves are soft. The imra da'akrin, and the lambs are thin. The zimnin da'aviva lomata, and it's not yet spring. The shafirta milta ba'anpani va'osifas al shasadan tilasayomin. And therefore we have seen fit to add 30 days to this year and make it a leap year. So we'll say this is the verbiage of a leap year. But what do you see from here? The real ikar over here is that it's not yet spring. The problem is, remember again, Pesach is Chag HaAviv, and they're declaring a leap year because we're still in winter, so we need another month. But if you notice, once they're declaring it because of seasonal purposes, what do they throw in here? What do they throw into the declaration? The sheep are thin, right? The doves are soft. So you see over here that again, we won't declare a leap year just because of the doves and the lambs and the sheep. But once we're declaring the leap year for other purposes, we'll throw that in as well. Say the is the kasha kama ibor shana. How long is a leap year? Meaning, how much longer is it? Shloshim yom, 30 days. Rav Shmuel says no, a month. I both say a month, stam a month. When we say a month, that's 29 days. So the Gemara says, Amar Papa, ratzu chodesh, ratzu shloshim yom. The truth is, that's at the discretion of Beis Din. So it's actually very interesting. It's not only does Beis Din have the ability to add in an additional month, but Beis Din also has the ability to what? To determine how long that month is going to be. It's going to be 29 days or 30 days. So the Gemara says, Ta chazi, ma'ika bein tikife tikifoi. Yilaf on base. Kadmoi li'in basani basroi. We'll say, see what a difference there is ones of early generations and to the humble ones of later generations. So we'll say, who is it calling arrogant? If you look at Rashi, Rashi says, Tikifa kamoi, Rabbi Gamliel, Shahaya noeg surara, Vizorak mora betamidim kidash kacham bechorus ubrachas u'Rosh Hashanah v'tzari Rabbi Yeshua afilu achi katani bei v'shifra milsa ba'anpi u'ba'anpai chavroi Rabbi Shimon brei hava min venusi basrei kidamin basor chasapolim lo ba'anpi chavroi. So let's listen to this. So the Gemara is contrasting over here that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, we'll say, who ultimately again, as we're going to see, was a heavy-handed individual, right? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel ultimately again is the one, remember, who is deposed. Right, he's removed from being the Nasi ultimately because he publicly embarrassed Rabbi Yoshua, as the Gemara Maseches Brachos brings down. I'm sorry, Rabbi Gamliel. Excuse me, that was Rabbi Gamliel. So the Gemara is going to contrast ultimately Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who we just read over here, who Rabbi say acted in a humble fashion. We'll discuss the humility in just a moment. His humility is that when he made the declaration of Beis Din, he didn't make it in the singular. He made it in the plural. He said, we declare. So we're all declaring this ultimately together. And that was the son. And what did Rabbi Gamliel say? So Gemara says, Meister Ben Gamliel, second line, phone days. Meister Ben Gamliel, Shahaya Yoshev Agav Ma'ala B'Harabayis. So Rabbi Gamliel was one time sitting on the step of the Harabayis. Let's say, incredible, right? Halavai will be Zochem, Yirtz Hashem, to sit on those steps, B'Karav. V'Haya Yochanan Sofer Halaz, only the Fanov. And what happens? Yochanan, his Sofer, is supposed to, just to be clear what we're doing now. The Gemara is contrasting the father and the son. The Gemara is talking about over here that the son of Shimon Gamliel, when he sent out the declaration of the leap year, did it in a very humble way. How was it humble? Is that it was phrased in the plural. So we'll say, even though again, he was the Nasi, and he could have phrased it in the singular, saying, I am hereby declaring, I being the Beis Din, nevertheless, he phrased it in the plural. Rabbi Gamliel is sitting on the steps of the Harabayis. Yochanan and so far allows only the fun of. V'shalosh igros chatuchos lefanov. Both say he had 3 pieces of parchment. Describe Yochanan had 3 pieces of parchment in front of him. Amen. So he said to him, Rabbi Gamliel said to his scribe, go ahead and write this first letter too. Write first, let's say the following. La'achana debei b'nei Galila, ila ula'achana b'nei Galila tasa. Send it to our brothers of the upper Galilee and the brothers of the lower Galilee. Shalom chon yaska. Peace be upon you. Mahodian anachna lachon. We hereby inform you. Dizman biura mata la'afrushe ma'asra min ma'atana dezesa. We're hereby writing to inform you that it's time for you to go at Zman Bir. I both say Zman Bir means that at different times throughout the 7-year agricultural cycle, there are times that you had to make sure that you gave out all of your tithes. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says Zman Bi'ura Mata, Shana Shlishis Oshishis L'Shmita, Kol Mi Sheshia Masrosov Shel Shana Rishona Ushnia, Chayiv Levaran Achshav Trumanita LaKoin, U'Maiser Rishon LeLevi, U'Maiser Ani LaAni, U'Maiser Sheni Misbar B'Chol Makom Shu. Suppose that the idea of years 3 and 6, there was a public declaration that you have to make sure, be your meiser. You have to make sure that you've given away all of your tithes. So the first thing I'm going to say in the letter is, my brothers in the Galil, upper Galilee, lower Galilee, make sure to go ahead and separate meiser from your olive press. In the press, make sure to go ahead and, actually it's not really the press, it's more the vat. It's where they used to keep the olives to allow the olives to heat up and the initial oil already begins to ooze out. Remember to separate out meiser from your olives. Vitoli, so we'll say that was the first letter. So right, the letter was to the upper Galilee, lower Galilee. Remember to take meiser from your olives. Vitoli gartachada. Then again, Rabbi Gamliel tells his scribe, take a second piece of parchment. The cost of them, write the following: La'achana b'nei deroma, to my brothers in the south. Shlom chon yaska, peace be upon you. Mahodian anachna lechon, we hereby inform you. Tizman biura mata la'afrushe maisra me'omer shibala. We hereby write to inform you that it is time to separate out meiser from your grain. From your grain. Vitoli gartachada, take another piece of parchment. Uksov la'achana b'nei galvasa, and go ahead and write to the b'nei galvasa b'Bavel, ula'achana b'dimamadai. Go ahead and write a third letter. We'll say this third letter goes to our brothers in Bavel and to our brothers in Madai. Ulisha'ar kol galusa di Yisrael, and the rest of the diaspora Jewish community. Shlom chon yaska li'ala, may peace be upon you forever. Which is actually quite amazing. If you notice, by the way, that he uses a different lashon for galus than Eretz Yisrael. Right? In Eretz Yisrael, it's shlom chon yaska, peace be upon you. In Chutz La'aretz, it's shlom chon yaska li'olam. So you need a greater bracha of shalom and galus than you need in Eretz Yisrael. So what's the message to Bnei Gola? Modin anachna, we hereby inform you, lechon, the gozalya rikichim, ve'imra akrin. Literally again, the doves are soft, the sheep is thin, v'zimnin da'aviva lo mata, and it's not yet spring. Spring has not yet arrived. V'shifra milsa banpoim, u'ba'anpe chavari, and therefore it's been deemed appropriate in my eyes and in the eyes of my friends. V'osifis al shasada yomat. We have decided ultimately again to do what? To go and add on 30 days to this year. So remember what's happening over here. So this is, first of all, it's amazing because we'll say, always seeing letters that were written by people and pastors is always amazing. So first of all, this is just dramatic because we're getting to hear, getting to see the letters that literally Rabbi Gamliel sent out to all the communities, to the north of Eretz Yisrael, the south of Eretz Yisrael, and to the Gola, to the diaspora Jews, and quite amazing. But also, the point the Gemara was bringing this down was to contrast generations and latter generations. The Gemara was suggesting that earlier generations ultimately, again, were a bit more heavy-handed and arrogant in their approach, and ultimately would say things as coming from them as individuals and not the collective. Versus later generations, like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who when they would make declarations would make it in the name of the Beis Din, the collective Beis Din. Here's the only problem. According to what the Gemara just read from Rabbi Gamliel, right? It was also Rabbi Gamliel was making all of these declarations in what? In the collective name. In the collective name. So I don't understand why you're making it sound like Rabbi Gamliel. The earlier generations were a bit more arrogant or heavy-handed. To which the Gemara says something amazing. Dilma Basra Da'avru. It could be that these letters, this correspondence, was written after they removed Rabbi Gamliel from his post. So I will say, Rabbi Gamliel was removed from his post because he publicly shamed Rabbi Yoshua. And it was a result of a number of such situations. Rabbi Gamliel had his cheshbonos for why he did what he did, but he realized that afterwards he went a bit too far, right? He realized that afterwards, again, that the behavior that he was exhibiting, especially in the public sphere, was not the correct behavior. So the Gemara is just suggesting that maybe this correspondence came after he was removed from his position, after he realized that the approach that he was making was not the right approach, and therefore again he changed mamish the way that he conducted himself. Okay, so the Gemara goes weiter. Both say there are three things for which we go ahead and we declare a leap year. And number one, al ha'aviv. So we'll say Rashi says over here, al ha'aviv imlo bishla hatvua ma'avin. And we'll say what this means over here is if the aviv means the grain is not ready. If the grain has not yet fully matured, we will declare ultimately again a leap year. So aviv, fine. So we're not going to go into now Rashi. Al peros ha'ilan. They will say similarly again for the fruits of the tree. Rashi says over here, Al peros ha'ilan im misacher bishulam yosem is. Remember again, you need the fruits of the tree to be finished by Shavuos because of the mitzvah of bikurim. So ultimately, again, so if you see that the grain, so you must remember again, I need the grain by Pesach because I need to offer up a karban ha'omer. I need the fruits ultimately again by Shavuos because I have to go ahead and offer up bikurim. And if I see that ultimately these things are not maturing in the correct times, we declare a leap year. So we'll say tekufa. So tekufa just means the seasons. If I see, this is what we spoke about yesterday a little bit. I see that the seasons are off. That Pesach is not going to occur during the springtime; it's still going to be winter. So the al shnayim mehen ma'avin. We'll say if any two of these factors are in effect, va'al echad ein mehen ein ma'avin. But we'll say if just one of these factors are in effect, we do not create a leap year. Ubizman she'aviv echad mehen hakol smechin. We'll say ultimately again, if the reason you're declaring a leap year is because of the grain, everyone is happy. Right? Everyone is happy. In other words, no one's going to be bregish with pushing off Pesach because of the grain. Why? Take a look at Rashi. So here's the issue. If you push off Pesach, you also push off Chadash. Remember, Chadash means any grain that was planted last year since Pesach only becomes mutter when? At this Pesach. So we'll say, for example, any grain planted in the year 5776, right? Let's say after last Pesach will not become mutter until after Pesach 5777. So you would say, well, pushing off Pesach extends the Isser Chadash for another month. It doesn't really. Why? Because if the grain is not ready anyway, if the new crop is not ready anyway, so Lemaisa, again, we're still relying on last year's crop regardless. So Lemaisa, again, remember, so if any two of these factors are in effect, we declare a new year. Leap year, excuse me. Rabbi Shmuel says, for the tekufa. What does that stand mean? What does Rabbi Shmuel mean? Does it mean that when you go ahead and you declare a leap year in order to line up the seasons, everybody's happy? Or does it mean that just because of the tekufa, you could go ahead and declare a leap year? To which the Gemara says, take. We're not sure what to do with that. Fine. So what we have over here is there are a variety of different reasons why you would declare a leap year, right? It appears that again, both sides, the animals, right? Animals, or the thinness of the animals is not one of them. But Lamais, again, it sounds like we need two bona fide reasons in order to be able to declare a leap year. As long as you have two bona fide reasons, so Lamais, again, you are good to go. You would declare the leap year based on that, and then you would incorporate all of the subsidiary reasons as well. For 3 different lands, we go ahead and we're ma'aber the shana. We declare a leap year. What does that mean? If any of the above mentioned factors are in effect in any of the following 3 regions, that would be enough to declare a leap year. What are the 3 regions? Yehuda, Ve'eva Hayarden, Hagalil. So we'll say if it occurs in Yehuda, these are all the parts of Eretz Yisrael. Eva Hayarden, the Transjordanian land, and the Galil. Al Shtayim Mehen Ma'avrin, Val Achisen, E Ma'avrin. So we'll say if you have the issues present in 2 of these areas, then you can declare a leap year. But we'll say if it's only present in 1 of these areas, you don't declare a leap year. Or Bisman She Yehuda Achas Mehen, Hakol Smechin. And I will say, if Yehuda is one of the catalysts, right? Yehuda is one of the reasons why we're declaring the leap year. Everyone's happy. Why? She'ein Omer Ba Elam Yehuda. Because I will say, remember again, B'Pashas, they would be declaring it in Yehuda because the grain's not ready. If the grain's not ready in Yehuda, we want a leap year. Why? Because ideally we want the Karban HaOmer, which is the barley. Barley is the earliest growing grain. We want that to come from Yehuda. We want that to come from close proximity to Yerushalayim. So if it's not ready yet, we're happy to have the leap year. So let's listen to this. You can only declare a leap year in Yehuda, but if you ended up declaring it in the Galil, it's mu'beres, it works. Chananya says no, it has to be declared in Yehuda, and if you don't declare it in Yehuda, if you declare it in the Galil, it is not mu'beres. Why is Chananya so insistent that the leap year has to be declared only in Yehuda, not anywhere else? Amar Kravos, listen to this. Amar Kravos, because the pasuk says, "L'shechno sidrashu ubasa shama." So I'll say, what is literally again l'shechno sidrashu? Means that you shall seek it out as his dwelling place, as a Kadosh Baruch Hu's dwelling place. Ubasa shama. Kol drisha sha'at dorish. And we'll say anytime you're darshaning something, right? Anytime something has to be darshaned out. In other words, anytime that an innovation must occur. For example, like the declaration of a leap year, lo yiyu ela b'shichno shel makom. Ultimately, it should only be in the place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu resides. If something dramatic has to occur, like a leap year, then Lamais again, that can only be in the place where ultimately the Rebbe Shalom resides, which is Yerushalayim HaKodesh. So we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up in Mirat Hashem more with the leap year. Mirat Hashem tomorrow.
On both sides, first 3 rows, if you could please remove all your Spartan.